body shop repair, and a little frustrated on this one. One of the lower end body shops, who usually always has a problem, like a lot of lower end body shops, especially when the owner cannot do the work themselves and they just point fingers and they can't train their guys to be more careful. This is a older, more experienced tech, but his whole life worked at lower end shops and the work shows for it. Okay, I'm not going to go there anymore. Had a big leak, and it was at the connectors. And actually, this is my second video I'm making, because when it leaked initially, looking back at the video, I discovered I had to clean up my language because I was a little frustrated and not so happy. So it was at the connector of where the aftermarket condenser goes into the OEM lines right down here. And it wasn't because of the aftermarket condenser. It was because he dropped out an O-ring and didn't see it, and it leaked, and it was a big leaker. And I told him, tell you what, I have no time to stay around. I went off and did my other jobs, because I have shops who do the jobs right and usually don't make mistakes and don't waste my time. So I went around, and this is the end of the day, and I'm back. And aftermarket condenser. You got the aftermarket dryer. You got the original pressure switch. But what do your eyes see? You don't even need a UV light. What do you see? What's the green stuff? And you know what? This was holding vacuum. And I initially hit it really fast with nitrogen to test that leak over there. And let me zip this out. But I didn't come back over here. This leak is only leaking when, and I had it at 150 PSI and it didn't leak, but when it gets 150, 160 and it gets hot, only after getting hot, it started leaking. So this is steel, this is aluminum, and aluminum and steel expand and contract at different rates. So only when this got really hot, it's not leaking at this moment. This was the little, it was spurred out. And this is one of those leaks that only happens when there's refrigerant in the system, it's running, and it gets hot. It's like 130, 140 degrees. So this is one of those ones where the temperature makes it leak, not the pressure. So now I got to recover it so they can pull that apart and see either a damaged O-ring, an old crusty O-ring. Of course it's old, because this is a body shop and they don't change O-rings. And they're going to wonder why I'm charging them twice, and they're going to whine and cry about it. And it's one of those old shops that have been around 30 years and still do the same thing they did 30 years ago and still whine and cry about it and get angry that I charge them twice. So I'll go through the procedures, recover it. We'll take that off, change the O-ring. And yeah, the quality of work when you're a low-end shop with low-end workers, this is what happens. And the charge of me charging another $300 to do this again, I go, well, that O-ring just cost you $300. That's educational. That's your educational experience O-ring. And this ain't the first time. All right, guys, see you. Temperature sensitive leak.